Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham, and we've finally done it. We have a manager after 7 million painful days. We've finally got a manager, and it is that man they've been talking about over the last week, Nuno Espirito Santo. So what was interesting about this in the end is only a couple of days ago, it looked like it was all going to collapse. I'd done the video saying that there were reports that he thought Tottenham weren't going to employ him. And then the link came that he was linked with the Fenerbahce job out of nowhere. You know, looking like he was going to take over at Spurs, then going to fall apart, linked with Fenerbahce, and thank God it didn't happen. Look, is it a bit of an underwhelming appointment? It is, and that's no disrespect to Nuno. I think it just comes down to some of the guys we've been linked with. Obviously, we just had Jose Mourinho, Conte, Pochettino. These are guys that we've been linked with recently. And even Fonseca, I think a lot of us had grown to the idea of possibly having Fonseca as a manager. He looked like he would fit in with the DNA that Daniel Levy was certainly promising us with his end of season spiel in the programme and his statement that come out. So I think we're all kind of looking forward to that. That one fell apart. We've been linked with so many different managers over this wonky period, and we've finally got a man in. As I say, a little bit underwhelming, but that's no disrespect to Nuno. I think it's more the fact that, look, his teams play good football. Like, you can't get away from that. He's had decent success as a manager. He's not a bad manager at all. I think it's just what we were promised from Daniel Levy is not what we're getting. I think, as I said, with Paratici coming in, he didn't want the complete all-out attacking flair football. He wanted to make sure that, we have a solid defence and we kind of build from that. But what we're promised, apparently, is that there is going to be an attacking brand of football, but with a solid base. So they're trying to merge the best of both worlds, which you can't blame them. It's the sensible thing to do. Because if you're going out all attack football and all flair and stuff, there is the possibility that you're still going to have a weak defence, and when you get hit, you're screwed. So if you can kind of blend the both, perfect situation. So what I'm going to do is just read what's come out on the Spurs website to give us everything that we've got, because there's bits in there from Daniel Levy himself as well. So this is what the club statement has said. It's official. It's on our website, so nobody can complain. There's Nuno sporting one of our new training tops, which is a very nice light blue with yellow accents on it. So, as of Wednesday, 30th of June, 2021, 8:15. Bearing in mind, I've started recording this at about 20 to 9, and I was just about to do you guys a video saying that we were looking to appoint Nuno within the coming days, not to get our hopes up, because this happened with Fonseca. It was all but done. They were waiting to sign paperwork and it crumbled. Well, here we are. As I'm about to record, everything's changed. So the club have said, we are delighted to announce the appointment of Nuno Espirito Santo as our new head coach on a contract until 2023. So it's not a long thing. 2023, I think that's quite fair, to be honest. It's giving him some time to see what he can do, and also if things fail, Pochettino's contract will be up. So there's a little fail-safe there. Nuno arrives following a 4-year spell at Wolverhampton Wanderers, where he guided the club from the Championship into the Premier League and secured consecutive 7th place finishes in their first 2 seasons back in top flight, their highest league position since 1980. So really, you think about it, he got them promoted and managed to get him 7th twice in a row. Now that's really good going. That's a tough task. There are many clubs that go straight back down, or if they do have a successful season in the Premier League, it's really just to stay up. Some of them end up in relegation scraps. A lot of them end up around somewhere between 10th and 15th. So 7th twice in a row, that's not too bad. Obviously, the most recent season, not as successful, but there's many factors for that. And the negative football they had to play was more because he had to be pragmatic because of the players at his disposal. Obviously, we said in the last video, they lost Matt Doherty to us, Diogo Jota to Liverpool, Jimenez with his fractured skull, other injuries in the squad, having to play the majority of the season with a young, experienced striker. So, as I say, unlucky in the last one, and the pandemic itself. So he also restored the Molineux outfit to the European competition, leading them to the quarterfinals of the Europa League in 2019-2020. You know, you're not going to get to these positions playing bad football. And if we look at his first 2 seasons back in the Premier League with Wolves, he didn't play negative football, and it wasn't overly pragmatic, to be fair. He always found a way to score goals, and certainly against us, I felt they always looked good and gave us tough games. There was goals scored in the majority of the games we played against them. They were a very attacking outfit. They just had that solid base. So if we can get that, can't complain. In tandem with Wolves' progression on the pitch, Nuno developed individual players such as Connor Cody, who is looking a great player. Unlucky to not be playing at the Euros, but that's just come down to the fact that we have some fantastic centre-backs at the moment. Ruben Neves, Willy Bolly, Diego Jota, who obviously got his move to Liverpool, and our own Matt Doherty. You know, he definitely got the best out of him, made him look a very attractive prospect, which is why we signed him. We just played him out of position. So develop them from the second tier into established Premier League and European talent, whilst also furthering the development of players such as Raul Jimenez, Pedro Neto, and Adama Traore. I mean, Traore was one of those players that always looked like he had something in there, but lacked technique. He's just been power, raw, pace, but the technical ability isn't always there. And Nuno certainly managed to get him playing better and look like a decent player to play against. Didn't play as much in the last season, but as we say, it's been a strange year. So earlier in his coaching career, Nuno guided Portuguese side Rio Ave to 2 cup finals and qualification for the Europa League for the first time in their history before taking over at Valencia in 2014. So there you go. Rio Ave managed to get them to 2 cup finals and got them Europa League football for the first time in their history. I mean, that tells you something. You know, he's got to have some good minerals about him to be able to take these clubs and make records and history at these clubs. So it's not a bad thing looking at it. So Valencia in 2014, where he steered the Spanish outfit to Champions League football with a 4th place finish in La Liga. Now, this is at a time where Valencia had kind of slipped out of the pecking order, really. You know, the dominance of Real Madrid and Barcelona has always been there, but other teams like Sevilla, Atletico Madrid had really started making a push for things. So, you know, he got Valencia back into the Champions League, so that's a good sign. He was a former goalkeeper, obviously, in his playing days. He actually played under Jose Mourinho at Porto. He spent 1 season in charge of one of his former clubs, Porto, where the team finished second and lost only 2 league games all season under his stewardship. So there you go. That's that balance that we're on about, where he has a solid foundation. You know, he makes sure the defence is nice and sturdy, and he quite often plays 3 at the back just to kind of counteract that. And then he enjoys the flying wing-backs, full-backs, whatever you want to call them these days. So there we go. It's pretty impressive on a defensive and attacking front. He's finished in good positions with the teams that he's had in previous times. So, Daniel Levy, he says, first of all, I'd like to welcome Nuno to the club. We should like to thank our supporters for all their patience throughout this process. Damn, boy. We got acknowledged. Isn't that nice? And, it's been painful. It's been so painful. I've spoken already about the need to revert back to our core DNA of playing attacking, entertaining football, and Fabio and I believe Nuno is the man who can take our talented group of players, embrace our young players coming through, and build something special. Commenting on the appointment, Managing Director of Football, Fabio Paratici, said, the brief for this appointment has always been clear. We wanted a head coach that can instill all the values that are important to this football club. You only have to look at Nuno's time at Wolves to see his ability to take a group of players and implement an adaptive style that brings success and allows players to develop and thrive. We are all looking forward to getting started in what we hope will be a successful time with the club. Speaking on his appointment, Nuno has said, when you have a squad with quality and talent, we want to make the fans proud and enjoy. It's an enormous pleasure and honour to be here. There's joy and I'm happy and look forward to starting work. We don't have any days to lose and we must start working immediately as pre-season starts in a few days. Whew! Yeah, I mean, when you actually look at Nuno's career as a manager, league positions, cups, experience, player development, he ticks a lot of boxes there. Obviously, the brand of football isn't quite Tottenham Hotspur, but I think it's a sensible compromise at the moment. With it looking like Graham Potter didn't want to come at all, and look, let's face it, he had 4 years left on his contract and was going to cost a lot to bring him. The top managers clearly it wasn't going to happen at all. And as we've said several times, Tottenham's first, second choices are often not the managers to bring us success to the club. It's normally the guys that we just end up with because either, somebody's been sacked very quickly or it hasn't worked out or deals have fallen apart. They're the managers that have come in to take us to new heights. So, I'm talking about your Martin Jol, Harry Redknapp, Maurizio Pochettino. These are managers that have really, really pushed on this club that were never our first choice. They were just kind of either backups or Harry Redknapp was just brought in to kind of save the day. And look where these guys took the club. So, we've got to get behind this guy. I think the hashtag no to Gattuso, that was trending number 2 in the UK. And obviously that deal fell apart very, very quickly. But I felt like it was so harsh with the hashtag no to Nuno because it was almost like it was an attack on the guy. And he doesn't warrant that. Gattuso, I can understand us really coming out publicly and saying that we didn't want him because of his past. He's aggressive, his comments, just his mannerisms, everything about him. He doesn't seem like a good guy. He's a bit of a villain. Whereas Nuno, he's a good guy. And as I've said, yes, it might be a little bit underwhelming, but that's only because of the managers we've had, the success we've had. So that's the only reason it seems underwhelming. But as a manager, he's a good manager. You can't deny it, that what he's done with the clubs he's had has been very, very good. And he does play an attractive brand of football, but has that core solidity at the back. And I think he knows how to switch things up to grind out games when he has to. It's almost like he's like an improved Jose Mourinho. I'm not, it's coming across a bit disrespectful. I don't mean improved. I mean kind of the style of football that Mourinho has tried to implement over the last few years of his career with Manchester United and us. It's kind of like Nuno is the more advanced version of that because look, there's no getting away from the fact that Jose in years gone by was an absolutely incredible manager. No one better at the time. He revolutionised the way managers thought in certainly Portugal, and the guy is just a serial winner. Unfortunately, there's a lot of different styles about now that kind of combat the way that he wanted to play, and that's just not favourable anymore. But Nuno has kind of got the foundations of Jose Mourinho, and we've got to remember he's worked underneath him as a goalkeeper, so he was working with this guy day in, day out, and surely that would have helped develop his coaching style. But then he's added his own elements in along the way and would have learnt from other people as well. So, yeah, it's one that I think I'm not too displeased with because we could have done a lot worse. I mean, Nuno could have gone to Everton, he could have gone to Palace, he could have gone to Fenerbahce, which I still think would have been a weird one for him. He needed the next step in his career, and I think Fenerbahce would have been a sideways step. It's kind of on par with Wolves in the sense that the size of the club, obviously it's massive over there, but, Fenerbahce, they're probably on the same level as Wolves in terms of how much success they can have, but the difference is he's more likely to win trophies with them because they're a very successful team in a league that isn't as competitive or difficult. So, yeah, I feel like it would have been a sideways step, and I'm kind of glad he's come to us. And I think Palace would have been a sideways step as well. It's another one where they're kind of on par with where Wolves were. Everton would have been a step up because, they've got a crap ton of money right now. They've got a decent squad that just needs a bit of rejuvenation. But obviously Benitez has gone there, which will be a really interesting one because Liverpool fans are not going to be happy. And on top of that, Everton fans, a lot of them are not happy. Obviously, he plays very pragmatic football. can be a bit of a bore. Obviously, he's fantastic. He'll get them results. No way about it. I fully expect Everton to have another good season, and they've got a crap ton of money. And Benitez is very good in recruitment. So, they'll do well. But the Everton fans are going to take a while for them to warm to him, and he's going to have to come in and hit the ground running. But yeah, back to Nuno. We have to get behind this guy. I feel like he was unfairly treated by a lot of the Spurs fans. I feel like it was disrespectful and became a bit more about digging him out. That may not have been people's intentions. They may have just been saying, look, it's an underwhelming signing and we don't want him. But to go as far as #No to Nuno, which was actually trending number 1 in the UK at the time, that tells you something. For Gattuso to only be trending number 2, and then, a week and a half later, Nuno to be trending number 1. I mean, come on, it's not even the same sort of setup. Gattuso's an absolute word I'm not going to use. Nuno's a good manager, he's a nice guy. It's just not what we expected and what we wanted right now. But I feel like it's... I can see why they've gone that way. It's the compromise between what Daniel Levy wanted and Paratici wanted. And I certainly think the players will like him. The question will be, what staff is he going to have? Who's he going to bring with him? What will be the roles for Ledley King and Ryan Mason going forward? That'll be quite interesting. So yeah, that's it. Manager is in. There have been some transfer updates come through. The Japanese defender that currently plays in Serie A, and obviously we're linked with everybody in Serie A at the moment because of the Paratici. I'm not going to bother reporting on those transfers until they're concrete. Obviously, we've now got a manager in, so there'll be conversations going on in the next couple of days between Levy, Paratici and Nuno to talk about who they want, who they think will fit, the mould of player that they want, and then we can really start digging into that. But there you have it, guys. We have a manager. Finally, let's get behind him and hope that he can bring the brand of football that we want and solidify that defence that, let's face it, has been pretty abysmal for a while now. So, I'm happy. We can rest easy. Obviously, we had that cracking result, beating Germany 2-0 in the Euros. The first time beating them in a competition since 1966, which is fantastic. I mean, we didn't play great by any stretch of the imagination, but I felt like we were in control for the whole game. Raheem Sterling again getting another goal. That's his third of the tournament without him really playing that well. I mean, the guy's just a bit like a headless chicken at times, running, gets into trouble. Should pass the ball more often than not. There was like a few where he should have passed to Kane. There was one after he'd scored the goal where Trippier was open out wide. He completely ignored him, tried to cut through about 4 players, got tackled. Germany went on a break, and luckily it came to nothing because of our rock-solid defence. And then obviously that horrendous pass backwards that Muller latched onto. And if there was anyone you thought would have scored the goal, it would have been Muller. If it wasn't against England, I'd feel really, really sorry for the guy. But, it is what it is. Grealish, the boy, obviously comes on. We've been screaming for him for ages. Like, he should be starting games. He's just a different class. He's admitted as well that he was actually going to shoot, but then saw H in the middle, played the ball to him, and there was just never any doubt in mind. Like, Kane's been under so much criticism, but, they just haven't been using him. Sterling is just so greedy, and yes, he scored the goals, but my question would be, how many goals would we have scored had Grealish been on the pitch, providing for Harry Kane? I mean, we'll never know the answer to that now, but, the fact is, we've got another clean sheet, which is fantastic. Jordan Pickford. Everton fans must be pulling their hair out every time they see him play for England because the guy is insane. And, massive props to Gareth Southgate for sticking by him because there were so many fans before the Euros saying that we don't want Pickford in goal, he needs to be dropped. I tell you what, that man has proven everyone wrong. He puts on an England jersey and he's just a different level of gravy. Like, he controls his defence, he's passionate, he makes good decisions. And that the Muller miss, I'm actually give massive credit to Pickford because, look, Muller had a lot of time to think about what he was going to do. But what Pickford done really well is he come running out further enough to close down the angle either side of him and give Muller a decision to make, really. I don't think he would have been expecting that because he was being chased back up by defenders but had a couple of yards on him, and would have expected Pickford to only come out a little bit, which would have left lovely gaps either side of Pickford. But instead what happened was he come out and it made the angles tighter. So Muller's tried to hit it. I mean, if anything, he should have either hit it with the outside of his foot to bend it back in. But, he never should have gone along the floor in that situation. Pickford had come out that far. He had to put the ball over the top of him. But, Pickford has been immense. He's made some great saves. His communication is good. He controls his back four. He has a pop at him when he has to. I say back four, back three with the two wing backs in the last game. But, Everton fans must be crying every time they see him. It's just like, why can't he do that for his club? But yeah, enough of that. We move on to the next game on Saturday against the Ukraine. We've got a very, very good route to the final. God knows who we're going to play against because you've got Italy, Belgium. That's going to be a massive game. So one of them has to go. And you would expect that Spain are going to beat the Swiss. However, Spain haven't been playing that well, really. And, if you saw the game with France against Switzerland, Switzerland just never gave up. I mean, it was a cracking game to watch. And obviously you had the Croatia game before that. Two very good games on that day. But, don't be surprised if you see Switzerland go through. They've got something about them. This could be the year of the underdogs. And I put us in that as well. I think we're underdogs. I think we're overhyped every time we're in a competition, which puts the pressure on us. And then, we don't perform. And obviously in the World Cup, the pressure wasn't on us and we hit a semi-final. So, this group of players have got something different about them. And Southgate, I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing. We may criticise certain decisions he makes, but he's doing wonders. He's doing wonders with that team. So we'll see what happens. But yes, happy time, Spurs fans. We have a manager. No more waiting. And hopefully we can start talking about players incoming and outgoing. So that's all from me today. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Massive thanks to those of you that have. It really means a lot. And it really, really helps this channel grow. Make sure you hit it with a thumbs up if you like it. And also, get some comments in there. Let me know what you think about the appointment of Nuno. Are you happy? Are you not happy? But tell me why. Don't just say, yes, I'm happy or I'm unhappy. I want to know your reasons why. And that's really what gets the discussions going on these sorts of channels, because it gives me something to look at. And then it gives me something to come back at you guys with, just to give you my opinions on whether I think, you're right or why we might differ in opinion. So let's get the convo going. But yeah, as I said, smash the subscribe button. Let's keep this channel going. Stay safe, guys. And as always, come on you Spurs /England.